The medieval tradition of duelling returned to the streets of London this week, but not with flintlock pistols. This was with ladders, and not over the honour of some fair maiden, but over the flag flying above this land. What is the flag of England? You'd be forgiven for thinking it's this one, as you see it so often. But it's not. It's this one. You can tell it's this one because this is the one mocked by self-loathing leftists. Here's the clip. Honestly, give this Englishman a medal. He's pulling down a flag that makes many of my Jewish friends feel unsafe as they've seen people wearing it chant for their extermination. And the man who pulled the ladder down could have killed him. He should be put on the naughty step. However, this is Sadiq Khan's London and his police force have a two-tier approach. So I'm fully expecting the Englishman to get 30 years in jail and the two hooligans who attacked him to get hired as hate crime advisors for the Met Police. But why are these Palestinian flags flying in London in the first place? There are hundreds in Tower Hamlets alone. The council say they had no involvement with these flags being placed in the borough. Really? Why don't they pull them down then? The flags are blocking lights and signs and they embolden anti-Semitism. But then, anti-Semitism is the norm for some leftists now. Just this week, we've seen the presidents of elite universities, Harvard, Penn and MIT, make excuses for students who call for the extermination of Jews. And we've seen the blue-haired, non-binary staff at a coffee shop in California stop a Jewish woman from entering the bathroom. The coffee shop is pledged to send staff on diversity training. I'm sure that'll solve the problem. If only someone had sent Hitler on a 2-hour diversity awareness course. Think of the tragedy that could have been prevented. It's so weird to see the people who'd call you a Nazi for misgendering them blithely calling for genocide like they're at a Nazi rally in 1939. It's become a social media trend for these people. Anti-Semitism is this year's Ice Bucket Challenge, apparently. And people who were silent while Hamas raped and killed civilians on October the 7th are crying fascism and genocide because the Israeli military is detaining suspects. Won't someone please think of the raping, murderous, child-butchering terrorists? And look at the state of these men. I thought everyone in Gaza was starving. Well, I guess we all know where the missing aid rations have gone. It's not just Hamas, but also porky bosoms. I feel like Egyptian President Mubarak is still with us. And is that Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas? It must have led to some confusion when someone asked, "Are you guys Fatah?" And they had to answer, yes. Left-wing journalists screech, "This is fascism." I mean, it's obviously not fascism. Fascism is a system of government and social economic control that exalts nation and race above the individual and that stands for a centralised autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation and forcible suppression of opposition. It more accurately describes the leftist establishment who co-opt big tech into the application of their severe hate speech laws to control public opinion and subvert democracy. These pictures from Gaza are some suspected terrorists with their tops off getting taken into custody. They're fighting-age men in areas where civilians are supposed to have been evacuated, and they have to take their tops off because of their tendency to wear suicide vests and blow people up. Something that seems to be missed by all the Western leftists who are acting like Hamas are Bambi's mum. I know there's pain and suffering on both sides, but that doesn't excuse flying a flag in London that causes pain to Londoners. Anyone who gets on a ladder and pulls one of these flags down takes a step up in my eyes. Joining me tonight are comedians Cressida Wetton, Paul Cox and Darius Davies. Have you been surprised that so many people on the left have been so anti-Semitic, Paul?
No, because it's a cult, isn't it? And it's a cult against the establishment. They're not thinking about the context. So they're not thinking they're pro-Palestine because they understand the history and what's gone on with Israel and Gaza and the West Bank and all that sort of stuff. In fact, most of them, if you ask them, don't have any idea what's gone on.
Yeah.
They're seeing this through the binary vision of pro and anti-establishment, Israel being establishment and Palestine being anti-establishment, and therefore good. But it turns out that it's not quite that simple.
How ironic that so many of these people are seeing it in a binary way.
Yeah.
They probably describe themselves as non-binary.
Exactly. All this gender fluidity is missing in this argument.
Yeah, and it's also missing in the Gaza Strip, where Hamas run a pretty tight ship regarding LGBTQ issues.
Yeah, I don't think I'd fancy my chances there with another type of flag with lots more colours on it. I think you want to keep that here at Sainsbury's where it's safe and welcome. That's where you want to take that flag. Yeah, I don't know. People keep calling for a ceasefire. It's like we had a ceasefire, didn't we? And it didn't really work out long term. So
yeah. And Darius, I mean, I know you have some support for the Palestinian cause.
That's right. That's right, I do. Well, I'm not. What's the question? Like, I watched that. I thought the ladder video was hilarious. Like,
did it remind you of like Royal Rumble?
It reminded me of WWE TLC tables, ladders, chair match. He got pushed off, which was crazy, but then he got another ladder out of nowhere.
Yeah, where did that come from?
It was amazing. But the thing is, I have a feeling it's not because he was, you know, pro-Israel. I have a feeling if that was an Israel flag flying there, he would have taken that flag down as well. just from his bobble hat that he was wearing with the big St. George's flag.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Palestinian flag doesn't bother me flying, but I understand it shouldn't be flying. Like, if they're flying illegally, but that's the council's job to fly them. But it was funny to see those two guys. That first guy pushed him off the ladder though. I could genuinely have killed the guy.
Yeah.
I was shocked when that happened.
As it did to Mick Foley at Royal Rumble.
Mick Foley would have survived that.
But yeah, so seriously, you know, life-threatening.
Yeah, that was a genuinely dangerous assault. Like, even I was like, well, that's too much.
I mean, do you think the police will actually do anything about it? Do you think
the police are not going to do anything? How are they going to find? They're not going to do any. If that was, like you said, the pride flag, then there'd have been a SWAT team there instead. But this is going to go on. I mean, just because they can only find out who it is from the video, right?
Yeah.
And the video is too not pixelated enough. You know, they can't zoom in and see anyone. It's just going to go.
I'm sure they've got other cameras. I mean, I'm sure the ULEZ cameras would have caught that in crystal clear.
Oh yeah, no.
8K.
Well, who was
if it was a
filming
number
that?
plate.
Was that a woman? I think you could hear a woman speaking in the background saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe what they're doing! Like, call the police, love! Like, why are you just letting
They
this
should
go
have to
on?"
stop filming.
Oh, the best thing is though, right at the end of that video, like an advert plays, but it's so funny. I can't remember what it said, but I remember listening to the advert as it's playing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So just if you go back, watch the video, watch the end, and listen carefully.
All right, go on. Well, I mean, we've seen the Met Police have this two-tier approach where basically, you know, anti-Israel protesters can do whatever they want. They can shout whatever genocidal slogans. They can romp all over the war memorials, drape the war memorials and those Palestinian flags that we've seen, which it's a huge humiliation for Britain to be subjected, you know, to see our, in our capital city, war memorials being desecrated like that. But then if any Englishmen turn up, if anybody turns up and so much as, you know, I saw somebody getting arrested for calling the protesters terrorists, when obviously a lot of the protesters were sympathising with Hamas, and a lot of them were actually dressed like Hamas. So they're LARPing as Hamas, but we're not
just in their underpants out on the road.
Well, they were not in Hamas's current outfit, but yeah, they had the bandana, the green bandana, and all the rest.
Yeah,
of it.
you can.
But are you shocked by the sort of just blatant, the flagrant two-tier policing in London?
I'm not, because we've worked our way towards this over the last 4 to 5 years, where there are protected groups, usually minorities, and they fit within this. This is what I'm talking about with, you know, establishment and non-establishment. The pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, non-establishment people will be seen as part of the minority group and therefore protected by the police because they've done so much training that's programmed them to believe that these people are in the right and anyone attacking them is not. I mean, let's go back to that guy, by the way, who not only has a flag ladder, but has a fighting ladder with them in the back. This is what I want to know. What was fantastic about that is, as the guy who pulled the ladder away, he went, "Mate, that's not even my fighting ladder." Yeah. And he went back and he got this other ladder from somewhere. And when the ladder swapped at one point, he was like, "No problem, mate. I've been training for this moment all my life." And just managed to... He got very lucky. He managed to get away, didn't he? But no, fair play to him. Always carry a fighting ladder. That's what I say.
Always carry a spare ladder. Or, I mean, if he'd had one very large ladder, he wouldn't need to put a step ladder on a rubbish bin. Which I don't think is health and safety.
I mean, that's a really good point.
If the Met Police don't prosecute him him for removal of a flag. They'll definitely prosecute him for health and safety.
Well, they absolutely will, because there was no method statement undertaken, no health and safety risk assessment undertaken. Who was supposed to be holding the ladder? That is a two-man job. If you're going to climb up and pull flags down, and you've got a fighting ladder, you need someone to help you out, don't you? So I mean, he's got this all wrong. He's in big trouble. The other two guys let him off, like you say. Give him a sticker.
Yeah, I mean, Darius, it's an interesting point that, like, people see Palestinians, Muslims, as sort of that side of things in this conflict as a minority, when they're not a minority in on a worldwide scale, and they're not a minority in Britain compared to Jews. There's far fewer Jews.
I mean, I think look, basically, what a lot of people, no one's complaining about Hamas, getting their comeuppance. No one's arguing with that. Most of the people protesting, and there's some people who take it too far and are anti-Semitic, but most of the people that are protesting are saying, listen, half of the population of Gaza are children. We're protesting to protect their lives. That's what it is. We understand Israel has a right to defend itself, but Israel also, as a part of the West and Western government, need to defend themselves, but do it responsibly and take all actions that they can to protect the civilian population, which, like I said, is half children. So that's what most people are standing up for, and that's when they're flying the flag. They're flying it in support of those children. Now, are there anti-Semites in the 100%? Are there idiots in the 100%? They need to be condemned and shunned. But most people are like, look, they genuinely, half a children is, and it reflects Israel taking such a strong stance, which is their right. The thing is, it ends up on our streets. Now, if you're English, it should worry you, because something's happening that we have nothing to do with, and we, end up on buses on July the 7th, and we're getting dragged into their affairs. So if you want it from a selfish UK point of view, that's a selfish UK point of view.
But then, I've heard this put around that, Britain, America shouldn't be getting involved in this conflict. But it seems like those people, they're saying, well, just leave Israel to be wiped out by the people around it and the people, sometimes within it, that want to destroy it and, kill all the people there. That doesn't seem like morally defensible.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, listen, support Israel, but take a neutral stance, so that the Palestinians' rights are protected as well. And actually, that's better for Israel and for British Jewish people, because then British Jewish people aren't at the mercy of Netanyahu going crazy and to try to protect his presidency.
What about Hamas? I mean, surely that's the organisation that's responsible.
The Gazans are as much hostages as of Hamas as the actual hostages. Most of the Gazans now have turned on Hamas.
But I can show you. We've got a graphic coming up that's going to show the level of support for Hamas in Palestine.
I know. Well, okay. Well, let me have a look at this.
This graphic here. So 59% of Palestinians strongly support the October the 7th attack. That was an attack when civilians were murdered, raped, just the most horrific stuff.
But who's
and another 16% support it to some extent.
Who's filling out this? Who's filling out this poll?
They've got methodology.
There's bombs raining on their heads. Where's this poll being done?
Bombs raining on everybody's heads all the time.
You're telling me they go through Gaza, go in and go, excuse me, just wait while this bomb drops. Did you support the... That's not happening.
Yes,
that's lies. They went in
Gaza.
Why are they going in doing polls? Give them aid. They don't want to do your poll.
Hamas are stealing the aid.
They're doing aid and
still
asking for polls at the same time. Come on, man.
No, this is rubbish. They've done this online, Darius, haven't they? Sure. The shopping malls are shut. You can't stand there jangling the old, raise money for Hamas, sign this.
Well, what surprises me is since 75% of Palestinians support Hamas.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But what surprises me is I'd say it's about 98% of British woke people support Hamas.
Yeah, but they're idiots.
But they wouldn't say they support Hamas, would they? They'd say they support Palestine, which is Darius's point. People are saying, think of the children.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else Israel can do other than give you fair warning and say, look, get out of the area. It's a lot more warning than Hamas.
Cressida, here's the thing, right? Get out of the area, right? Let me tell you, right? get here, you got to go from London, from wherever we are in central London, to Croydon. You've got to do that. The roads are all
Sounds
bombed.
awful.
You've got to do that. The roads are all bombed.
And also
you've got to drag your old age mum who's
and
in a
also
wheelchair.
Hamas are trying to stop you
And
because
Hamas
they
is-
want the civilians.
Well,
they want the
right.
civilians where they're going to get killed because then they've got more dead civilians to parade in front of the cameras. Okay, well, we're going to leave that there, but don't forget.